Sin caos no puede haber cambio, y sin cambio no hay evolución. Juntos exploraremos cómo transformar la incertidumbre, el dolor y la incomodidad en la magia que intuitivamente sabemos que es posible para nuestras vidas. Yo soy Aislinn Derbez y creo que los mejores regalos que puedes darte son espacios para conectarte, sentir y reflexionar. Espero que este sea uno de ellos.
Just said, I think I say I'm sorry almost as much as I love you.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Is that true?
Very much us. We're Justin, like, he just takes up a lot of space without trying to, and then I squeeze in whatever little space there is.
We've had lots of conversations about that.
Sometimes it's cute, sometimes we get frustrated with each other. But yeah, I feel like he says I love you more than I'm sorry. But Justin
a close second.
It's a close second. Mm-hmm. Justin is really good at apologizing. Mm-hmm. But what's cool with that, though, is that he doesn't just apologize and then leave it at that. The power lies in saying I'm sorry, and then how can I do this better?
Okay.
What can I do different?
Okay.
And then taking action and doing that, which I feel like you do that all the time. You are really, really good at that.
And we were talking about, like, difficult matters because we were talking about how men find it so difficult to be with powerful women that know their power and that are themselves. Yeah. And we were talking how that is not very easy to find, that right. Most men find their sense of worth in controlling women.
Yeah.
And how he has been a different man in this relationship, according to that. But I also think that not only men have these certain tendencies, but what do you think are the tendencies of women in relationships that are not very helpful? Just like he said, that all these tendencies that men have. What do you think the tendencies of women are that we have to really work on?
I think there are many. Right? I think there are many, and I think...
I'm excited about this
I think they look many different... That's such a great question, first of all. I think it looks many different ways, too, where I definitely think that this exists where women feel more powerful and they can demand a lot of things from their man, and is not coming from a place of groundedness, or a place of taking responsibility for our stuff while asking for a partner to step up. Where it's kind of this thing like, I need you to just go fix it. Because you're the man, so go fix it. We're not happy, fix it. But then there's also another version where I think this is where I fall into, or in my past I've fallen into this a lot, where I kind of play the role of the damsel in distress.
And I was taught to play the role of the one that saves the damsel in distress.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can get so dangerous because now I'm taking my power and just like putting it over here.
Wow.
And then guys are very prone to taking that power, which is false power for them, and then taking them that to kind of build themselves up to be the knight in shining armor.
So true.
And I don't think anybody wins there.
Well, because the man is getting filled by a false sense of power. It's not real.
Totally false.
And
it's not real.
And his power then, again, it goes back to what we talked about, is based on his ability to affect this woman. It's not real. It's not coming from him.
To save her.
Exactly.
To fix her.
Yes.
When nothing needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to be saved. I believe that it's my job to fix myself. Although there's never any fixing. It's just more accepting and growing. But that's my job. And I feel like my partner's job is to lift me up and celebrate the work that I'm doing, and also being able to show up authentically and honestly and say, hey, something here doesn't feel right. Whatever we're doing here doesn't feel authentic, so let's sit and talk about it. So, of course, you can point out your partner's weaknesses in a loving way, but it's like that's the raising up. That's the celebrating and the lifting up. It's not going in saying, you're doing this wrong. handle it or let me fix it for you. So I believe it's those two things, the damsel in distress and then a woman that stands in some sort of fake power that is not coming from inside of her, that is not coming from that true place, that grounded place. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, we never talked about it, but earlier I said that in a relationship, we are responsible for our own happiness. Right? Yeah. And it's similar to that. It's not your job to make me happy or mine to make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. I have to make myself happy, and together we have to
Exactly.
It's like this idea of, like, we say my other half, and how you think of here's a half, and then we come together and we create a whole, which is really sweet.
You just create a bigger...
You create a unity.
A bigger void.
Exactly. It's like you want to be a full circle, coming together with a full circle.
Forming a concentric circle.
Forming a really strong circle.
Exactly.
I mean, you create that unity, right? That is new, but the work is in how can I make myself feel whole?
Yeah. And
not put that on your partner or anybody else.
And tell me something, because I think that part of the problems in relationships is that that one has a life and the other one has another life, but suddenly when they start being together, they just have this other one life.
Is this, can I ask a personal question? Because, so backstory, she just went through a pretty hard public divorce, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was not hard between us because we did it in a very, very friendly way. But we were very public, so...
Right. But they're like...
And it was so heartbreaking. I mean, for me, it was devastating.
And for a lot of their... I mean, for millions of people, too, who probably looked to them.
Right.
And some of the same... I think some of the same ways you and I feel like, oh my God, we have a responsibility to make sure we don't mess this up.
Totally. But, we were feeling like that. We were always like, everybody would say, like, if they divorce or if they break up, I won't believe in love
there's no hope left.
There's no hope. Exactly.
Oh,
they say that about everybody, but it's true.
That's a lot to hold.
But so you're asking, is that what you experienced?
I think I experienced, yes. I think what I experienced is that, we mixed everything so much that we lost ourselves in it, that we lost having an individual life, that we lost having this, that we put a lot of pressure in the other one to complete me or to make me happy. Exactly what you were saying.
It also reminds me of the Khalil Gibran.
Oh, I know. Our favorite quote on
about
marriage
two
and love.
trees.
Yeah. You're the strings of one lute, but you're two separate strings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys, because that is so common in relationships, have you ever felt in this relationship that you're abandoning yourself, and how, if that happens, how do you go back to yourself?
Oh my God, yes.
I'm just going to go.
All the time. No, you're staying right here.
I'm going to be the mic person
You are not leaving. Yes, for sure. And I mean, I can only speak of my own experience. And I do think motherhood adds a big layer to that, because then you have little beings that like you are their life. Like in the beginning, your body is their life. You're nurturing this little baby, and then the attachments are so strong. And it's just like that nature of being a mother is that it's all about these little beings outside of me that I want to nurture and raise, and being... for me, also being a wife, I've also taken on that role very often, that is about supporting. How can I help? How can I raise you up? And I feel like because Justin has been the breadwinner with a big career and a big life, and I've been here at home with 2 kids, and this is entirely my own fault, I will say. I've told myself, or my belief has been that I'm here to lift up and make myself smaller so that everything else can be bigger, so that can grow.
That happened, to me too.
Which I think women do a lot.
Yeah, that's a very common.
But it's also important
very
then
common.
that the man, this is my side of it,
right?
Recognize that, right? And a lot of men, I think, like that feeling of constant, like the world is revolving around them.
True.
They're the breadwinner, and the wife makes dinner, or like is always there. And in our marriage, it's also been I saw her losing herself. So I asked her years ago when we saw it happening. I said, babe, let's reset this. Okay. And it was important for her to also have her own thing, because I want her to take up space. And we all, and everyone has their own trauma, right? So like we are reliving the experiences of our childhood in our marriage. So if she was taught at a young age to not take up space, and I was taught at a young age to take up space, then suddenly our insecurities are triggering each other and they're forming something. So we have to fight against it. So her work is on her taking up space, or not taking enough space, and mine then is on taking too much. And luckily we're both doing that work. So I could recognize and she could recognize, oh, we have to reset this. And I want her to reset that. Like,
the tricky thing there, and I mean, that's where communication comes in, right? It saves everything. It saves the day to be able to consult.
Uncomfortable conversations.
Uncomfortable conversation, but to be able to show up authentically and with everything that you really feel, and also be able to hear what your partner is saying
or not saying.
But the important thing there, again, if this is the dynamic, right, the woman is not taking up enough space, the man is taking up a lot of space, which is very traditional, and a lot of people have that. Again, the man cannot come in and be like, let's fix this, right? The woman needs to find that place within her. Like, I knew I had to realize that I am unhappy, I am losing myself, and this is not working. And the more that I disappear, the less of a mother they have, the less of a partner he has. In my attempt to be more for them, I'm becoming less for them, which is such a mind pretzel.
And what's ironic is that, and because I'm so drawn to when she's in her power, then polarity gets affected. Because I want her.
Oh, it
happy.
gets
Like
so
I want a full, powerful woman.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the woman gets more insecure, and it gets more like, "What? How can I do this better for you? How can I be there more?" And it just makes everything go worse.
Which ties back to that damsel in distress, right? Where you're just like, I'm losing it, and how can I be more? And you're coming from that place of lack.
Most relationships are leaving.
So what happened with us was I had first tried to fix it, because that's my job as a man. That's what I was taught.
Exactly.
And that didn't work. She had to do that work herself, and I had to do my work.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where we are today, is we're deep in that work.
Honestly started when, I think this is important to say because a lot of people feel ashamed talking about it, but it ended up meaning I had to sit down with Justin and say, I think I've been really depressed. I think I'm dealing with a depression and for sure a whole lot of anxiety, and I need to take some time to really work with this and sit with this and be with this. And he probably already knew that was the case. Luckily you hadn't told me. And he was just like, great, I love hearing you talk about it, and I'm here for it. I'm here to hold space for that. You go do whatever you need to do.
Wow.
And then slowly that work began. It's not a quick journey, as I'm sure you know, a lot of people know.
The work starts there.
But that's,
And I had to resist my temptations as a man to want it to be fixed overnight.
Sure.
Because as men, we just want to like fix things and produce, and we want there to be a result. We're very result driven and oriented, and you can't put a timeline on emotional well-being. And so when she told me, she was like, I think that I've been depressed, even if I kind of knew, she doesn't just wake up tomorrow and suddenly like it's awesome and like it's work. And again, men have to be okay. Like, we're so good at doing work in so many areas, we're so terrible at doing emotional work. And the work of being supportive and loving, patient spouses oftentimes, right? Totally. Because what's it all connected to? Like, if she's not showing up for me or for everybody else, then what, am I just going to give up? And that's why we see all these marriages end and relationships end, and vice versa. Because we just think we're supposed to be happy, and it shouldn't be this much work. But it's all bullshit. Exactly. We've been sold a lie. And my hope, and the reason why, having these conversations is so important, and why I wanted her to come out, is because people need to hear the truth.
True.
Right? It's the truth of marriages. How many marriages could we save if you went into the marriage knowing it's going to suck? What if it's like 60% suck, 20% incredible, right? And like 20%, Does that mean, like, what's that mean? But also the suck isn't a bad thing. When I say to men is, think of it like the gym.
Exactly.
You go to the gym every day. You go to the gym 3 days a week. And what do? You go to the gym to have the suck.
Exactly.
You go to the gym because you're like, and you wait till it burns. It doesn't grow until it burns. It's science.
You never really enjoy it.
Your muscles don't grow until
it really hurts the next day.
Your muscles don't grow until they burn. The lactic acid, so it's the suck. And then you're like, oh, that felt great. That's marriage. It's that simple. If we go into it expecting that, how many more marriages stay and work?
Right.
But then, and what you missed was you got to go back to the why, the foundation of all of it. You can have these conversations, but if you don't have the foundation underneath all of it, then what's it doing? Why are you married? Yeah. Right?
And then, of course, it's important to say that some marriages just will not work, and the two people are better off, not being married anymore. And that's there's always space for that too, of course. But I do think that a lot of people give up a little too soon because they just don't want to do that work,
or don't
it hurts,
or don't do the work when they're dating.
But that's a big
because if you do the work while you're dating, if you change the dating perspective to be about like great sex and great conversations and laughing and just all the chemicals that happen in our bodies to, all right, well, let's think of it like a stretch or a warm-up. I'm going to keep going back to this gym analogy. That's not fun either. Like stretching kind of hurts. You're stretching your body to get ready for the work. That's what dating is. In the Baha'i faith, we're told it's investigating character because the character is who you are going to be with. Because all this shit, right? We're all attractive people. That fades. Yeah. At some point, we're wrinkly and, hair's growing all over our faces and places and things, and you're just like, but the character stays. The character can grow and grow and grow, and we can become closer emotionally and as souls.
Spiritually,
right? But if you build your relationship on the superficial and only the fun things and only the dating and the sex and the great conversations and all of that, you don't have any reference point to the work that it's going to take. So when babies come, when you don't have sex for months, when work and stuff, and you're just trying to find 5 minutes to connect.
Depression.
When depression sits in.
That is attractive or fun.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like what? So then we just give up? No. That's when it begins. And if you can connect in that, we've found when we connect in our brokenness, it's actually far sexier and more intimate than anything that we could experience like when we were dating or otherwise.
And it's so different also from all these other couples because there's also these other kind of couples that think that just staying is the ultimate goal. So they stay in horrible situations. Yeah. And it's just like so abusive and so horrible. They don't even know each other anymore. They're like so separated, but they just like pretend for the outside that they have been married for years and 30, 40 years.
So not healthy.
And again, we're generalizing because there are so many complex situations, and you can't ever encapsulate every marriage or every relationship or partnership in one conversation. But I think you can reduce it to, it's not her job to make me happy or my job to make her happy. Right? Once we find our happiness, we come together and can experience and cultivate happiness. Yeah. But if you apply those principles to anything, I think you'll have a good formula for what's possible.
And adding to that principle, I think also is like nurturing and creating a life of my own. At the same time, my partner is creating and nurturing a life of his own, and then we can both share our lives too. Yeah. Because if we depend and we just live the life that is together, I think it also can be a little bumpy.
Oh yeah, but also you're missing out. Esther Perel is a friend of ours. She talks about the idea of the importance of having lives outside of each other and letting that stimulate you and bring you together. And I think that it's a good thing, even sexually and with energy. You go out into the world, you're bound to experience energy. And you get to come home, and there's your person. True. right? Like, what conversations can you have if nobody's learning something? Like, if we're both not learning anything except what we're learning together, then what are we going to talk about?
Exactly. It's like I read about an old couple that had been married for so many years, and the man, I think he was the one who wrote the article, but he said something about how they sat down at the breakfast table that morning, and his wife just said something that totally surprised him. He had no idea what she was talking about, and she knew something about something that he never would have guessed. And he was like, that is why we are still together, because we still surprise each other. And she goes off and she learns over there, and I go off over here and I learn something, and then we come together and we're just like, whoa, that's so cool. To be able to have those conversations because we continue to grow together, but also separately. I think that can keep it fresh for years, for decades. It's
so important. And I mean, and we had, again, there's seasons. Every marriage has a season. We've been together over 9 years now.
Yeah.
And there were seasons where we weren't doing that. And you can look back and be like, oh, I can see that. And and then we were both like, oh, we gotta be doing our own things. And then that brings us, ironically, you go out to come back in. And that's exciting. Yeah. You know, I believe men should want their partners and their wives to have full lives and experiences outside of them.
Exactly.
Because then they come
wives
back
with their husbands as well, or any partner.
Yeah, I think that's what. Did I not say that? I said something backwards.
No, not backwards. You said husbands should want
their wives,
their wives or their
partners.
Partner.
Yeah,
but it goes both ways.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah. Sorry,
No,
I thought I said it backwards. I'm speaking for myself. She speaks for the women. I was like, oh no, did I say it backwards?
No,
you were trying to be gentle with me and tell me that I just said something stupid.
Great.
Because it's exciting when she brings things back that I can learn from. And I'm sure it's the same way
of course,
for her.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to like the men thing. Yeah. We've been raised to measure our masculinity based on how much we can control the women in our lives. And instead of and like the illusion of control is that she's home, she's waiting for me, she's there when I get home, she's there. I want her out. Because then when she comes back, it's actually much more fulfilling and exciting, and I can learn from her. So
that's so beautiful, guys. Thank you.
Doesn't make it easy.
No.
But it makes it worthwhile.
That was so special. Like, really, thank you for opening this part of that relationship and the relationship that you're building. And I think it's so useful for all of us that we're watching on the other side, because I think this can be real. It's not easy.
Right.
It's so beautiful, but it is happening. So there's a lot of hope, but you have to do the work, and it's not easy at all. So if you're lazy about doing the work, of course you're not going to get it. But thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Thank you for bringing me in.
No pressure. We got to stick together. She says that now, and then she's going to go. She's going to be like, "Oh my God, babe, why did you do that? I haven't put makeup on today."
No. This was super sweet. Anytime we can have a deep conversation, I'm here.
Just to tell the people, also knowing that you have to work every single day, and that it can end anytime. That this can be finished anytime, and that if you want to actually keep it going, you have to make the work every day, not take it for granted. Most people are just like, oh, they're perfect, they're a perfect couple. No.
There is no such thing.
Even if they're perfect,
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a perfect couple.
No such thing as perfect. We're not here to be perfect. That's not what
life is. God
or life or anything is asking us to be. Yeah. But are we asked to do the work to have the lives of our dreams, hopefully? Yeah. It has to come with work. And I think birth is like the perfect example of that. You're not going to get to meet this little love of your life without labor and blood, sweat, and tears, however the baby comes out, a belly labor or it's just, it takes work. You get to feel it, and then that reward comes. And I think that's just the nature of life. And I think if we can remember that, then we will surrender and accept the challenges maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
What you water grows.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
So cool.
Thank you for joining, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Ojalá que hayas disfrutado este episodio. Y recuerda que en nuestra página web, lamagia-delcaos.com, puedes encontrar mucha más información de estos temas y de nuestros invitados. Tenemos blog, tienda en línea y material exclusivo para los que se suscriban. Síguenos en todas las redes sociales como @lamagiadelcaos. Gracias por darte este espacio con nosotros.